fine. So yeah. What is this? Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. I had this mini game, dude. I had mini game. What is the mini game anyway? Hey, kill yourself, kill yourself, bitch. Oh no! Oh, such a bitch. This slider. This. What is this? Is this Toho? What is this? 认识到。Is this so? Bullet hell? That's what it's called, bullet hell? Bullet hell? I don't know. Let me exit. Okay. Die. Oh shit, what is that? A boss? A mini boss? What is that? Oh no. Oh no. Kill yourself. Nice. What is it? Okay. That's crazy. What is it? Okay. I need that. Let me exit. Hey. Shit. I should have gotten more. Oh. What is this? Okay. Please. This is kinda whatever. Can I kill? Okay. That's nice. I mean, not nice. I just focused. Let's go. No. Let's go. I need more upgrade. Okay. But I can kill him. Absolutely. Is that it? Next chapter? Are you kidding me? Dominated incarnation. What is this? When my turn into Seldom Mech, as in Seldom Mech, the movement speed is greatly increased and you become immune to damage. Fighting with enemy inflicts damage. I see. What? Pisses me off. I'm risking it all. I'm risking it all. Yeah. Shit. Okay. Down, baby. Let's go. It's me, Mario. More damage. Die, let's go. Wow. The important stuff. No? Okay, let's go. Okay, I'm done. A bit more, a bit more, a bit more, a bit more. That's okay. Cheers. Oh my god. I missed so much there. How did that hit me there? I'm kidding, of course. It's a meme. Let's go. Wow. That's kinda amazing, not gonna lie. What is this? I just need, oh my god. Bit more, bit more. Let's go. Oh my god. Interesting. Is that bug or what? I don't think so, right? I don't think. I mean, I don't think. I don't think it's my end fault. I think it's the game, right? I don't think it's my fault. Hmm. 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 Interesting. Damn it, that. What the fuck? Fuck. Oh, about it. What the hell? Hmm. I don't know. Okay. I mean, yeah. Shit. Where are you going, bitch? Die. Okay, good. Die. Yes. Stupid idiot. That's it. Can I see what? Do I miss anything? Probably not. Annoying as fuck, dude. Level 14. Let's go. Go. Fuck. Okay, that is my fault. Dude. The game is fucked. The game is fucked. The fuck? What the fuck, dude? Man, the game is fucked. Is it just weapon? It's my fault actually. What? Let me fix that, maybe. No. That is stupid. That is... Fuck. By the way, I don't have that big of a monitor. I use... What is it called? PSR, I think? But why is this happening anyway? This is kinda stupid. Dark and gloom. Collect. Okay. Oh my god, I got EIA. Who I want? Who I want? Guess you. Let's go. Wait. Oh no. I need another 1,000. No way. What about? Oh my god. No, I'm thinking about paying SSRs after this, but no, I can't do it. It's kind of fog. I need to wait for Sparksy. If not, I broke my rule. I don't know why I made that rule. That I need to pull every time I can. But I need to wait for Sparksy to pull. So yeah, it's kind of bad to play the game. I need to wait for Sparksy, which is crazy, no? Anyway, let's continue. What is this? I mean, yeah. Where is this guy, dude? Wenji? Who is Wenji? Is it a he or is it a she? Or are they or her they? Anyan, where are you?
I just like to make people smile.
Where's Lanyan? You lied to me, Minima.
Honey.
Why? I wanted to.
Where's Lanyan? You Lanyan? What is going on? Where's so much dialogue? The shit? Where's Lanyan, dude? In the sky? What the fuck? Anyway, where am I going? Here. Boom! Ay. Wenji! He is a guy. I think, anyway. The moment I need to turn off the bomb. Whatever. Why am I disconnected? Oh no. Let's get there. I don't want this. Benji have Messi. This is so annoying. I'm getting off. Okay. Yum. 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 Okay. Yum. 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 Nice. Yum. Yum. Wait, I missed one. That's crazy. You scam me, bitch. Fuck, I missed a lot. I gonna scam myself then. Wait a minute. Shit, what the fuck am I doing? Jump. Hit us. Aye. Interesting. Dun, 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 dun. Nicely done. Why am I holding down D, dude? Fuck. Yay, we're done. Just give me 1000. Then we're getting there. Okay. I think it should be 100. 120. I know. Anyway, next. Yeah. Jump. That's kinda crazy. What? I need to. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do there? Fuck. Ah, I see. What the fuck? What the fuck? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? Ah, I see now. Hey, idiot. That's how. What the fuck? I'm kinda an idiot for that. That's crazy. What an idiot. Ciao. Small jump. Yeah. Fuck. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Okay. What the fuck? Hoopla. Nice one. What? Okay. Jump. You. Jump. Let's go. It's done. It's not. Fuck. Die. Let's go. Jump. This is fun. Is it done now? Please. Is it done? I mean, it is. But let's go. Let's go, mate. 2 more. I see now. the fuck? It is annoying. Jump, kill, jump, 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 kill, jump, jump. Oh my god. Kill, jump, jump, jump. Jump, jump, jump. Jump, jump, oop, 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 jump. Oh, fucking bitch. Jump, jump. Oh no. Jump, kill, jump, kill. Oh no. Jump, fuck, kill, 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 kill. Done, we're done here. Okay, now we're playing Xin Yun. Is my pronunciation wrong? I think together. I see now. I'm an idiot. Let's go. Fog. Let's go. Let's go. That works. Or not, I don't care. But honestly, oops, I missed so much there. Let's just get this done, I don't care anymore. I won't get scammed this time. It's not done. The fuck? Where, what? Let's get so convoluted for no reason. Okay. What the fuck? Oh my god. Fuck. I messed that up. Oh my god. Let's go. Yay, it's done. Okay, let's go. Oh no, I fuck. I mess up mine. That's crazy. Don't get that. I have enough. But today, maybe. I don't actually know. Wait, can I? No, I can't, right? I missed 200. That's good. 200, you say? Reading.
I cut some
Let's
bamboo
go.
today to make a special jade.
That's the what? Okay, now.
The criteria for certificate exams are straightforward enough. What it really
Where can I destroy that? That is crazy. Pinson. Pinson? I don't know. Oh my god. Oh my god. I have not enough. Dude. Let's do one more so that I can get a pull for this. From this, I mean. Let's go. I wish I have Diva right now. Yeah, that's good. Okay. Do I want Zibai or... Okay. Do I want Zibai or Nubileto? That's important question, I see. Talking about pulling, I'm excited for Escoffiata. My Skunk would be so good with him, with her, I mean. Would be amazing. Yeah, baby. What is this? No, why fighting? I hate fighting. You fucking bitch. I hate it so much. Oh my god. Can I not, dude? Oh my shit, I hate. I'm done. I'm exiting the premise. What is this? Port of Fontaine? Oh. Wait, this is not it either? Fuck, what the fuck? No way, no way. Is that only 3? That's only 3. Oh my god. What is Charm Point? This I'm done. This I'm awesome. Jesus Christ. Oh my god. I hate this so much. You kidding me? You kidding me? It's penetrating. What the fuck? What the fuck am I supposed to play? Am I supposed to play Bloom? The fuck? I don't know.
Time to go.
Hey! The Temple of Wisdom! This may hurt a little.
The wind knows me. Fallen leaves adorn my...
Let my name echo in song! Shower me with...
The tides beckon.
Wait, how do you play Nuclear?
Silence!
Die.
Clouds high. The birds...
Sharing my knowledge.
Time to shine! Yoo-hoo!
Be sanctified. Settle down.
As one with wind and cloud.
The Temple of Wisdom! Committed to memory.
Let my name echo in song!
Bow your head. Let the mighty be humbled.
Committed to memory. Make yourselves at home.
Wait, I have no healer. I forgot.
Clouds high. The bird...
Settle down. The tides beckon. Justice is blindsided.
Chill. I need to fucking chill. Fuck. What is this thing? Not gonna lie.
Memory, the Temple of...
Silence!
Chill, bro. You kid.
An oversight on my
You
part.
kidding. You're kidding, dog.
Let my name echo
Please,
in song.
please, no.
As one with wind and cloud.
Bow your head.
Shit, I missed by fuck. Predator. Oh my god. Stupid. Hey yo. I love it. No, yeah. Yeah. Wait, I need healer. What healer do I have? Oh my god.
Let the world come alive!
This is first
A
one.
moonlit night for all.
Leave this place for the everlasting. Can't hide the truth. Seek within. Time to go clean. It all adds up. The deception ends here. Can't hide the truth.
Time to shine!
Time to shine.
The show...
By the Frostmoon of old.
Surge.
It all adds up. Let's see what you're made of. Can't hide the truth.
A new moon rises. Wane.
With one heart, we pray. You seek within.
Let's go. We're winning it.
Let my name echo in song! The show... New moons converge. Surge.
Leave this place. For the
Interesting.
It all adds up. Can't hide the truth. The mystery unravels. No
Okay.
more lies.
May I flow.
Can't hide the truth. Let's see what you're made of. The deception ends here. No more lies.
Oh my god. 50,000. How about this song? Oh me good. System. But how do you play? What do you what? I don't know. Do I play 20 DPS? I think so, right? This damage?
Shower me with praise! Let the world come alive! A new moon rises.
I forgot.
Surge. Brace yourself. Time for takeoff.
The story has only just begun! Thunder!
Yoo-hoo! Time to shine! Wane, three moons converge. Here we go! Yahoo! Think you can get away?
The story has only just begun!
Let my name echo in song! Surge. A new moon rises. Time for takeoff.
Get back! This is burning shadow!
Okay.
Time to shine.
Time to shine.
Green moons converge. Wane, think you can get away?
You can get away.
Devouring claw! Stay!
This is TBS student, right? If it's dark, I think. I don't know how this works actually.
Let the world collide! A moonlit night for all. Whoa. Brace yourself. Time for takeoff.
A lament for the end.
Time to shine.
Time to shine.
A new moon rises. Wane. Let's play.
Devouring claw! The abyss is burning shadow!
The show begins.
Shit. Let's go. Leans this time. Why am I keep playing the same team over and over again? It's always Columbina.
Strike a pose. Let my name echo in song. A moonlit night for all.
Cleanup sequence initiated.
Ultimatum protocol.
Observe. The long sleep beckons. Be silent. Night falls. Observe.
Flow.
Insulation chamber.
Close your eyes. Observe. Close your eyes. Be silent. Night fall.
The show begins.
Cleanup sequence initiated.
Wane.
What am I supposed to do?
Green moons converge. Let the world collide.
Preparing for dust up.
Observe. The night comes. Close your eyes. Fear the dark. Observe.
Oh, brilliant!
Close your eyes. To dust. Be silent.
Annihilation mode.
A new moon rises.
Okay,
Observe.
it's done anyway.
Your eyes. Night falls.
Time to shine.
Time to shine.
Defensive mode engaged.
Observe. Be silent.
What am I doing? Ebi. What is her theme though? What is her theme? No, that's wrong. That's wrong. This theme. Big theme. Silly me.
Here comes the catch.
Let the world come alive. Wane. A moonlit night for all.
Lofty wisdom will show us the way. Smite the dust. Busted. Game's up. Fun's over.
Let my name echo in song. A new moon rises.
Divine light, shield them. Smite the dust. Lofty wisdom will show us the way. Gotcha. Here comes the catch.
There goes the dog.
Praise. Time to shine. Whoa. Three moons converge. Ah!
Be cleansed. Oof.
Like the dust.
Foolish. Things are about
I'm kinda talking right
Show
now.
begins. Let the world come up. Wayne.
Without further ado, the sky's clear, the glazed moon shines!
A new moon
Oh shit.
surge.
Game's up. Fun's over. Quietly now. Be cleansed. Lofty wisdom will show us the way!
Yeah, it's so bad. That's enough, I think. Yep. What the fuck? Oh yes. I forgot about it.
The pet.
Teleportation. Am I really missing 40? No way. I'm missing a lot actually. So I'm missing so much. Interesting. Oh my god. I'm missing so freaking much. I'll do it tomorrow, maybe. I don't know. That's full. Interesting. Goodbye. Oh no, I haven't gone. That is interesting. To say the least. Yep. Sorry. What about the here though? It's Munivision. Oh no, I need. I don't want that. I don't need it actually. Anyway, I think I'm done for today. Maybe not. Maybe I'll play something else, but that's it for now.